All right. So welcome to this hyper-specific contest training for Zoom Masters, as we've coined it in Toastmasters. The person that is in charge or running the Zoom, kind of behind the scenes, making sure everything looks and goes smoothly, is letting people in, all the different things that happen that you don't notice are even happening because they're just so smooth. So that is what we want to prepare you for if you are planning on being a contest Zoom master specifically, where you're going to help out at area contests or division contests or whatever you're going to be taking on. It's also really good training in general for contests beyond the Zoom master role. So if you're not necessarily going to be a contest Zoom master this go round for any of your contests, this is still a super good skill to have, and it's a good it's good information to cover for any role that you have in a contest, because we're going to review the script for contest and talk about where the Zoom master role falls into that. But just naturally hearing that, you're going to get some experience for the contest function itself. Let me share my screen. I got a little PowerPoint going on, and I did at one of our recent TLIs hosted a TLI supplemental for just Zoom Master Basics. So I basically have my same presentation for my Zoom Master Basics that we did. So if you saw this presentation before, it's going to look familiar to you, but we're going to look at it through a contest lens and also bring in a lot more of the contest resources. Let's go through this. Zoom Master for contests. So, hi guys, a lot of you don't know me. Welcome D16. My professional experience, or my name is Samantha Watt. My professional experience is that I'm a corporate trainer for a software company, and I teach in a 100% virtual environment. So I'm on Zoom 8 hours a day, and then I come to Toastmasters and do 5 more hours sometimes on Zoom. So I know I've gotten a lot of experience with it. I'm very comfortable with it, and I navigate through it pretty quickly. In Toastmasters, I'm currently the TLI Zoom chair, so in charge of getting all of our folks trained for Zoom and hosting those TLIs. I'm also the District 25 Contest Coordinator. So contests are my passion, my love. I will tell you at the end, but I'll tell you now, if anyone needs one-on-one training, D25 or otherwise, come to me. I'm happy to teach anybody one-on-one or get little group sessions together, just anything contests, because I want everyone to feel as excited and confident about contests as I do. I'm also the BPPR of Golden Triangle Toastmasters, my home club, and I have hosted dozens and dozens of TLIs and contests as the contest and TLI Toast or Zoom Master, excuse me, or in D25. I've coined it the Zoom Mistress. So feel free whenever you are hosting as a Zoom Master, you can do what I'm doing right now and rename yourself. So Zoom Mistress is usually how I would rename myself, so people know I'm the one kind of running the scenes. If they have a question, they can message me directly. So for tonight, I want us to gain a comprehensive understanding of using the Zoom application for basic contest functions. There's a few recommendations I have if you are going to be a contest Zoom master or even a TLI Zoom master. Have the Zoom application downloaded. So if you are currently on Zoom with us tonight and you opened up the browser, clicked join meeting, and then you had to click that little link that says join by browser, ideally you're not doing that when you're hosting a meeting. There's some functionality that when you're not on the downloaded Zoom app is going to either not look like it looks in this presentation tonight, or it's going to not exist. That's because it's a function of being on the browser version versus having the full downloaded application on your computer. It's free to download. It's easy to download. So highly recommend downloading that application, practicing with it, joining in via application and not by browser. I also, if you're a Zoom master, be on a computer. I know that we have tablets and we have these tablet-like laptops. We have our phones, and these are all great sources for us to join like we are tonight. If you're just an attendee, you can totally join by phone, totally join by browser. But when you're hosting, you're going to miss out on that key functionality. And that goes to my third point, have more than one monitor. And I know that's not everybody's wheelhouse, or not everybody's it's not reality for everyone to have multiple monitors. I work at Zoom, or I work on Zoom all day, so I have 3 monitors. That may be the norm for you. That probably isn't the norm for most people, unless you do that for your daily function. So if you're going to be a Zoom master for TLI or contest, having more than 1 monitor, what that means, why I suggest that, is because right now, what I see in front of me is my presentation that you all are looking at on one screen. And that means I don't have to put anything else on top of that presentation. I can see it the way you guys are seeing it right now. It also means in the middle of my computers, I see you guys. And that just gives me a little bit of what's going on. How are people reacting? Ron's smiling and nodding. So yeah, I'm doing decent so far, Ron. And then on my other screen, or I could split this view that I'm looking at right now, and I can see my presentation. I can see, in the case of contests, have that script up, have that agenda up. Those are going to be vital in knowing where we're at and what the next thing is to do. There will be cues throughout the whole contest to know who to spotlight and who to do whatever with, sequester if it's an evaluation contest. Let me ask real quick, D16, are you doing evaluations for your district contest, or are you doing something else in addition to international? Do you know, evaluation, it's usually like table topics or evaluation or.
Table
We're
topics.
doing table topics this year.
Okay.
We
Okay,
did evaluations last year.
Okay, so either way, you would still have people sequestered into a different breakout room in a virtual setting. So I'll just remember to kind of reflect between both of those as is necessary. But you're going to want to be able to follow along the agenda and follow along that script so that you can seamlessly and proactively know what the next thing is going to be versus waiting on the Toastmaster or the area director to give you that verbal cue. Just have that anticipatory, I'm ready to go kind of thing by having those up on your screen. That's why having that extra monitor is crucial. Now, that doesn't mean I want you to go out and buy a monitor if that's not what your lifestyle is like and you don't need an extra monitor, you have a laptop, right? You could use your phone, you could use a tablet, you could use both, you can, whatever combination of those things makes sense for you. You got to have an extra screen though, because you're going to be seeing this Prezo, sorry, not Prezo, you're going to be seeing the Zoom room. You're going to be spotlighting contestants, sequestering people, moving things around the screen. You're going to need a second opportunity to see emails or chats from people that are trying to get in touch with you. You're going to need to be able to open the chat box. You're going to need to be able to see that script and that agenda to make things run smoothly. Okay. So I told you we have resources on resources on resources. If you're not from D25, you may not know D25 has an amazing, amazing website. And we have these tabs at the top, and every single thing that I talk about tonight is on this website. So my goal today, and I'm going to steal this from our Pathways coordinator, Jim Jameson, because I saw him do a presentation today on Pathways. I'm going to show you tonight where to find the information you need to know. I am not going to succeed in teaching you all the information you need to know tonight in 1 hour, okay? But I will give you the resources and show you where to see it and how to navigate those resources so that you can go back and reflect on those when you have more time, when it makes sense for you, before the contest, all that kind of stuff. So if I land on d25toastmasters.org, just the homepage. It looks like this, beautiful. There's our, our summit pictures. At the top though, there's our links. So resources and events are gonna be best friends for contests for D25, the events page especially. Events is where our calendar lives. So if you're in D25 and you need to know when your contest is, or if you suddenly got availability, what contest do you wanna go visit? And my big tip, and D16, you can lean on this too, is go to as many contests as you can. That's something that I did, and that's where I'm what I credit to being so confident in all the things that I do now for contests is having witnessed contests. Not as a contestant, not as a helper, just going to a contest as an audience member, but watching it with a critical eye and thinking, if I was in this role, what would I be doing right now? And kind of seeing where that person that is doing that role does really well, or maybe where they had a misstep. Those kind of things I would watch like a hawk and just find out what I could learn from just watching a contest. That is some of the best experience you can get, is just watching, taking a really small role and just watching the rest, or just coming as an attendant. You can come, or an attendee, excuse me. You can go to any of our contests. They start on February 3rd is our first contest. So we've got them booked out all the way through April. So, or through May, actually, our full contest. But go watch those other contests and just see how other folks are doing things. But that's our events. And then our resources. Also, you could see that there's another training on the 24th, like Sally said, for a contest training. For our resources, when you click this tab, there is all the different subjects, but of course, contests is what we're focused on tonight. When you click that, it tells you what's going to be under that resource. And then to see the actual links and the information, we're going to click View this resource in yellow. All right, and then you see my face. So that's how you know you're in the right place. Oh yeah, that red-haired girl with the glasses, I remember her. That means I'm in the right place for that information she was talking about. So we got our contest schedule. That's going to link you back to the full page of contest schedule. It's different than the events page. It's just a full list of just contests, but it makes it a little easier to follow there. And then we have a whole bunch of information. And if you are new to contests altogether, you've never been to a contest, let me back up. Has anyone not been to a contest ever before? Okay. Has anyone who has been a Zoom master for a contest before? Okay, so a few of you. Okay. And then I'm assuming everyone else has been to a contest and watched in some capacity or been a helper. Okay. So we have full range here. So for the folks that have done this, I hope this is a good refresher. And of course, throw in your 2 cents if you have some ideas or things that I don't cover. And if I'm going too fast for anybody, stop me and ask questions. So there's a bunch of resources here. And if you've never been to a contest before, you've never had a role before, it's like, what do I need to even look at? Right? So the big things for this training tonight, if it's Zoom mastering that you're going to do, is right there. Zoom meeting info for contest. It's pretty straightforward. We categorize these pretty well, and we have some trainings that were created last year and updated this year. And then I'm just going to show you what these others are a little bit, just so you know, in case you guys are filling other roles. There's the rule book, pretty self-explanatory if you're going to be a judge or a contestant, whatever. Those are the rule books. Contest chair resources are our second largest section, because contest chair has a lot to do, and they have the briefing, and they have a timeline, and they have roles and responsibilities, yada yada. What I want to point out to you here is the contest role contact sheet. Remember that, we're going to come back to that. But that's one thing that I want you as a contest Zoom master to remember: contest role contact sheet. Contest Toastmaster is literally just a link to what to do for first time contest Toastmaster. There's the scripts. As a contest Zoom master, you will want the script. You will want to have the script downloaded to your computer. If you like to print things out, print it out. This is one, I'm a millennial. I'm not a print out anything kind of person, and I will print this out. It's just helpful to have that to the side on your table versus, like I said, having it up on your screen, having a jillion things up on your screen while you're looking at the Zoom. So if you're a printer, do print that script out, and that'll be helpful to follow along with. Otherwise, there's nothing else that you as a Zoom contest master would be particularly concerned with. But if you do have another role, or you do end up getting other roles in contests, all those other resources are here too. Those are the three things we'll concern ourselves with: is scripts, the contest roll sheet, and the Zoom info. That whole section has good resources for us. And I'm going to start with Zoom 101. We'll just look at these. We're not going to go over these in full. That one's a download and it opens up as a PowerPoint. So you can actually see the whole training that is run. And this is the one that is recorded. So you can see that and then see that Zoom 101. So that wasn't the one I originally wanted to click on. So those are just good resources. The Zoom guide is what I wanted to click on. This one has kind of basics for Zoom. So if you want to know, how do I test my video? How do I do really basics on Zoom? It kind of, not correlate. It works well with the Zoom training I gave earlier this week. So if you want to watch that video and work with this as well to get those basics under wraps and make sure you're confident with that, this is good for basics. It's got links to typically zoom.com, Zoom support, to kind of see what Zoom says about those things specifically. I have that covered in my training too, and you'll get a copy of this PowerPoint. So whatever makes you more comfortable going to Zoom or looking at the PowerPoint. Didn't mean to go back that far. View this resource, Zoom. I just wanted you guys to see how to get there more times than originally, apparently. Zoom for contests. This is one that I want to dive into a little bit with you guys because this is specific for tonight. So are all of, no, it should just be standardized across the board. So you'll have your table topics and then you'll have your international speech contest in that same time frame. Just like we'll have evaluations and international speech contests together, D25. So you would need to be there and be made host when you join the meeting. When I got here tonight, Sally made me the host. That gave me all the controls that I need on Zoom. So you'll want to be host, and then you'll have other people that you need to make host. So remember that contest roll sheet, because you're going to want to be able to see all the attendees and all the people that have signed up for roles that night, because you'll want to move them to their breakout rooms. You'll want to help assign them, etc. We'll talk about that more in a second. So people that you want to make co-hosts once you're made the host will be any significant dignitaries like the trio that need to jump around from breakout room to breakout room potentially, the area director, the division director for that particular contest, really anyone that needs to jump around from room to room or be able to assist you with muting, unmuting, moving, renaming. All those kind of functions are functions of the host only or the co-host. So anyone that's going to be helping you in that regard, you'll want to make them co-hosts. The the Zoom master will have the responsibility of spotlighting. So if you've been to a virtual contest before, even if you haven't, when you spotlight someone, it makes them the main person on the screen, and the gallery goes to the side or goes away. And I'm gonna just tease Sally real quick and spotlight her. So now Sally is spotlit. It has a little, she has a little pin and a little dot next to her name, and that indicates that she's spotlit. So even if I go back to gallery mode, where I'm seeing everybody right now, I still see that Sally's in a green box and she has that pin next to her to indicate that she's the main one being seen. And you're going to want to spotlight whenever you have a Toastmaster speaking, anyone that is doing a speaking by themselves role, or let's say that Sally is our Toastmaster tonight, and then Sally's introducing Nicole as our contestant. We'll spotlight both of them. That's going to put them on a side-by-side view on the main gallery screen for everyone that's watching the contest. It just makes it really easy to figure out who's speaking at that time, who is coming up next. You want to make sure that you are flexible and it's easy to spotlight. In order to spotlight, and you can kind of see on the little picture here, You hover over the picture of the person that you want to spotlight and click the try dot by their name. And as a host, you will have the ability to spotlight for everyone. Okay. There's also, and I think I have a better picture of it here in my presentation. Okay, so if we have, for instance, our participant list. So if you guys go down the bottom of the screen right now, there's a bar that matches the bar at the top of my presentation. And there's a section that says participants. And when you click it, it's going to open up a list of who is in the meeting tonight. Okay. Well, as you can see, when I hover over my name on the right side there, I can get a couple of options. If I was the host and that wasn't me, I could spotlight that person. That would be one of my options. So one of the easiest things to do, if you are a Zoom master, excuse me, and you need to, you're looking at your script and you see that, Sally, our Toastmaster, is about to introduce Ron, our contestant, have Ron's name typed out. You will have a search bar on the participants list, and you can actually start typing in RON. You could start typing in, he'd be renamed speaker 1 or contestant 1. Whatever makes sense to find that person quickly. Start typing that, and their name will start being it'll start to show you only things that have those letters in it. So it'll come up really quickly, and that's how I spotlight really quickly and move around really quickly. So click that try dot spotlight. You'll do that for Toastmasters, for speakers, when you have your speakers coming together for a picture after they've done the contest. All those folks will be spotlighted at the same time. So you may want to ask your co-hosts to help you spotlight, because it's one by one when you're spotlighting, and then it's one by one to unspotlight. So, and it will say remove spotlight in order to remove that spotlight. So ask for help from your co-host if that is relevant to you. And I want to get back to that list just so we're following along on that page. So there's the spotlighting. 90% of the time it's the Toastmaster that's being spotlighted because they're the one talking the most of the time. And then we're going to replace that spotlight with the contestant as we're going, because obviously you won't have the Toastmaster showing as the contestant is speaking, but then we'll go back and forth. So that's one of those things where you want to be pretty agile and quick, and that's why I say have the agenda up, have the script up, so you know who exactly is coming up next. You can have their name pre-typed out and just click spotlight when it's their time to be added. Breakout rooms. Breakout rooms, this is where we go back to having that contest roll sheet. Look at that, I already have contest speech resources, handy dandy. I also have it in my presentation, but here we go. We download it like that. Probably going to open up on a different screen, and it did. But this is what I have told all of my area directors to use to organize their contestants, their helpers, everybody. Okay, so it's got a lot of extraneous stuff. If you're not a contest chair or an area director, it's a lot of extraneous stuff that you don't need to worry about. But if you are a contest Zoom master specifically, it has column B, the breakout rooms that you need, and who goes in those breakout rooms. So I've color coded it so that I know that if it's an international speech contestant, their breakout room is contestant helper briefing. They're going to be in the same room as my sergeant at arms and my other contestants. I have in purple, who's going to be a co-host. So you'll want your Zoom master, not your Zoom master, your Toastmaster, your chief judge needs to be able to bounce from room to room. So those are co-hosts. Your judge's briefing is a separate breakout room. And then, so that's that's 2. Judge's briefing and contestant helper briefing. So that's 2 rooms. I always make about 3 or 4 additional bonus rooms just for general stuff. But in this contest season, specifically for either table topics or evaluation, we're gonna have another room called sequestration. And that's gonna be for our table topics folks to go in or for our evaluation folks to go in when it's their contest, because they can't be in the main room. So that's why you're gonna have a sergeant at arms watching in the main room and going into the breakout room with them. So that'll be just sequestration for those rooms. Generally, it's always good to have a judge's room, just a chief judge room, because they may need to go in and talk to the area director or talk to a contestant or something and have that separate space where they're not necessarily in the judge's room with the ballot counters. So chief judge room, and then I usually throw in like a district 25 room, and maybe my trio needs to go in there to talk about something, or maybe someone else needs to go talk privately. So a few extra rooms is always good. But our main are going to be judges briefing, contestant helper briefing, sequestration, and then whatever is requested, like your chief judge room, your district room, etc. So making those breakout rooms is part of the basic training that I gave, and that is recorded. We can get that added to the resources on the website. Oop, didn't mean to close that all the way. Back to this guy. So breakout rooms to create. There's even a list on this. That's handy dandy. I didn't make this actual sheet here, so I didn't know that was there. But there's our rooms that we're going to make, and then there's even some instructions on how to make that breakout room written down for you. The sergeant at arms. It's another unique thing to contests and being a Zoom master is you may need to help them move back and forth from room to room. And that's a function of breakout rooms. When you click on breakout rooms as the Zoom master, you can move people by, again, just hovering over their name. 90% of stuff in Zoom is just hovering over someone's name, and they have options. So I can move, Sally from sequestration back to main room. I can look at the breakout rooms while I'm the Zoom host and see who is in the breakout rooms. So we can just kind of confirm what the sergeant at arms are seeing. I had this happen contest to me last year where despite the briefing, despite, helping them, the sergeant at arms froze, right? The sergeant at arms froze, didn't remember how to get someone back to the main room or didn't know how to get back to the main room themselves. And as a Zoom host, you can easily just drag and drop them back into the main room and kind of help them out in those little situations like that. That also reminds me of muting. That's going to be a big function of being a Zoom master. We can't have extra conversations going on while someone's speaking during our contest, or gosh forbid, during the judges tallying time. Oh my gosh, the amount of times people have come off mute and just started talking because there's silence during that time. If you haven't been to a contest before, it's this time after all the contestants have spoken, and the judges have all the time they need to fill out their ballots. And during that time, it's silence. You cannot talk until the chief judge says you can talk. So being able to quickly mute people if you see them come off of mute and start to try to talk. Renaming them, so you see contestants here at the bottom. Contestants should label themselves speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3. That'll be given to you after the briefing or during the briefing. So this is something that I highly recommend working really closely with your contest chair, because they are going to know they're going to know what order people are speaking in pretty early on in the briefing, but they're not going to come back to the main room where you will be until later on. So if they can text you or email you that list, you can find out and start helping and renaming and making sure you know who's what and when, and add it to your script so you know when to spotlight them and so forth. The other thing is that when you're at the beginning during briefing time, the judges are going to start coming into the Zoom room, and no one is supposed to know who the judges are. They're anonymous, but as Zoom master, you have to know who the judges are, because you have to make sure they're invited to the judges room for their briefing. That's something important, is to get a list from your chief judge of who the judges are that night so that you can assign them the breakout room. Oh my gosh, I know this is a lot so far, and y'all tell me, how are we feeling Temperature check. Are you getting it? Is it making sense? Okay. Okay, cool. So the next thing I want to show and talk about. So there's that resource. That's kind of the biggest resource for Zoom Masters, honestly, for a contest. It's obviously not a Zoom basics. So if anything I've said so far is like, ooh, how do I make a breakout? How do I mute? How do I do that stuff? Look at my basics training, or get with me for one-on-one basics training, and we can go over all that stuff that you saw on my presentation, because we covered every single aspect of this options bar for you. So if that's something you're curious about, get with me. I'll give you my information at the end. But the other thing that I want you guys as Zoom masters to really, really get comfortable with, that is going to be a game changer for you, is the script. So going to that script section of the contest speech resources, whether it's area or division level, right? I'm just going to go area because that's our first that we've got going on. It's a download, so it's going to open up. And it's going to download as a Word document. And the nice thing about that is that you can edit the heck out of this. I edited these things so much, and I plan to still edit this as contest coordinator before the contest starts. But it's a little tricky when you've never seen it before. And I don't know if D16 of yours yours is a lot different than ours, but this is what ours looks like. And basically, the Toastmaster, the contest Zoom master need to know this like the back of their hand, because you're going to spotlight as the Toastmaster is talking. It's going to start out, and anything in the gray is an instruction, and it's usually for the Zoom master. So it's like a physical instruction. So the very first thing that's going to happen in a contest, and this is really important for y'all that have never even seen a contest before, area director is going to take the lectern. They're going to take the virtual lectern, and they are going to welcome and call the contest to order. It's the first thing that happens. So at that point, Zoom Master needs to spotlight. So if I was Zoom Master, this is supposed to start at 7 o'clock. You want to look around, make sure you see all the main players in the room for the most part, but find that Toastmaster or that area director and spotlight them. And then the whole room will just see them, and we can get going. So I call this contest to order. They're going to do their little spiel, and then there's going to be the potentially, depending on your contest, someone doing like an invocation or some kind of welcome, and that might be the contest chair, it might be a district representative, it could be just a member of a club, that someone might come in and say something inspirational or something to welcome people as well. So that's a second person to spotlight, that you're going to want to have your area director spotlight, welcome that person, take the area spotlight off, put this spotlight off, and bring the other person back. So it's a very quick transfer in that case. So that's one of those things where you want to be agile. You want to know who's going to be speaking, have that already kind of written out and pre-scripted, and fill this out as much as you can prior to the event. I have told all of our area directors to get their contest chair and their Zoom master and themselves and do a a dry run prior to their contest. It's invaluable. I can show you this all day, but until you read it yourself and see where you have hiccups, because I can read this flawlessly. I've done this a million times. But if you've never read this before, it's clunky at best when you do it the first time. So get familiar with it. Okay, so we got our area director welcome. Yes, we've got our invocation. We're going back to area director, and then we're going to welcome our Toastmaster. So, hi, Sally. I'm area director. Hi, Sally. Thanks for being our Toastmasters tonight. I'm so excited. Spotlighting both of them. And then you're going to take Samantha away. Sally's on screen, right? So that's spotlighting those guys. And then Toastmaster stays on for quite a bit. And at this point, we're not spotlighting anyone else. And then we're going to talk about I'm going to make Sally my Toastmaster tonight. Sally is going to announce who the contestants are and their speaking order. And then we're going to do a tech check. Okay, so we're going to have a tech check, and we don't have to spotlight the contestants for the whole tech check. They will be raising their hands. So we want to ask them that they're there. We want to make sure that they're present and they can talk that their mute unmute is working for themselves. In a evaluation setting, we're going to have a test speaker. So that's the first person that's going to be main spotlit, first person that's going to be speaking. So we're going to go Toastmaster introducing the test speaker, 2 people, and then we're going to take the Toastmaster away for the test speaker. We're going to bring them back, say thank you, take the test speaker away. Okay. Same thing for your table topics. We're going to have our Toastmaster, table topics contestant 1, take that Toastmaster away for the contestant, bring them back to say bye, and then we're moving on to the next contestant, so on and so forth. So it's a lot of spotlighting. It's a lot of back and forth. It's also not the end of the world if you're not doing it in 2 seconds flat. Like, someone that's really, really experienced and has done it a million times can. So I don't want any of this to sound like, oh my gosh, I don't want to screw up this thing by spotlighting too slowly or not as fast as Samantha can do it. No, I wasn't doing it as fast as Samantha can do it my first 6 times. So it's going to take practice. And that's another reason I say go watch contests first to see how other people are doing it. Okay, back to our script. We're going to go through our test speaker or contestant 1, 2, 3. Continue that as we go through all of our different contestants. Why I like modifying this is because if I only have 2 contestants in my contest, I'm going to get rid of 3 through 6 because that's all on the script. Or 3 through 5, excuse me. Okay, so let's say your last contestant is finished. You've spotlit them, you've taken them down, Toastmaster's back. We're going to say judges have all the time they need to do their thing. At this point, you can take the Toastmaster off spotlight while we're waiting. Okay, Toastmaster is going to indicate that this is silent time, and then Chief Judge will say when it's time for Toastmaster to start talking again. At that point, spotlight Toastmaster again. So here, thank you, Contest Toastmaster. All ballots have been collected. Chief Judge moves, and then the Toastmaster is going to begin. Okay. At this point, there's going to be more spotlighting because that's our main thing at contest is spotlighting, spotlighting, spotlighting. So Contest Toastmaster is up, and then we're going to have our contestant 1 up, and they are going to be up at the same time. It's an interview format, so we don't need to take Toastmaster down anymore. We're going to have contestant 1 up and Toastmaster up, and then they're going to smile, take a screenshot, whatever they do, and we're going to take contestant 1 away. Then we're going to bring up contestant 2, contestant 3, contestant 4. So that's all the spotlighting it is there. And then Toastmaster, after the interviews, if we're still waiting for Chief Judge to come back, so this is the interview portion here. The Toastmaster is going to say there were, their little spiel. The winner of the 3rd place certificate is, at this point, it's just Toastmaster on the screen still. At this point, where we're announcing the winners, bring in your area director because it's their contest. So we want to spotlight them too because they're excited about these contestants winning. So have your area director and your Toastmaster up. And then we're going to bring in 3rd, 2nd, 1st place. Let me say this again. We're going to have our Toastmaster, our area director, 3rd place, down. 2nd place, spotlight off. 1st place, spotlight. Because they're going to have, in a perfect world, if you're a Zoom master at a contest, there will be a contest chair or a awards chair that is going to show the award at this point. I have done it where I have been Zoom master and I'm confident enough and I've done this enough that I feel comfortable sharing the screen and showing the award. But in a perfect world, ask for an awards chair. Ask for a friend that is going to make the award 1st, 2nd, 3rd place, and they are going to share their screen at that point, hitting that green button on the bottom here, and they'll share the award so that your responsibility is just to make sure you're spotlighting area director, Toastmaster, and the winners. Okay, so get an awards chair, ask the contest chair to show the award, ask somebody else to show the award. It's going to take a big load off of you to not also be presenting something as well as spotlighting something. Okay, so once we've shown all the awards in D25, we bring all the contestants back and we take a cute picture together with the Toastmaster and the area director. So we'll tag one big screen of them spotlit and we'll have a picture for them. At that point, contest one's over. So your table topics or evaluation contest, it's over. Turn off everybody's spotlight and ask the timer, the Toastmaster will ask the timer for a 10-minute time for the intermission. Then we're going to bring the area director back. So when the timer starts saying, hey, it's time, guys, be ready to switch that area director to spotlight again. Same thing as before on our other contest, round 2. Nothing's really changing here except you have less people to spotlight because there's no test speaker. We're going to bring in our Toastmaster again. There's also no invocation at this one. So we're going to have our area director. We're going to have our area director switch to our Toastmaster, drop our area director, and they're going to talk again. They're going to give the same spiel, all of this stuff they have to say about silencing your phone and rules and yada yada. And then they're going to talk about the speaking order for this contest. And then they're going to go into contestant 1, sound check, etc. So same thing, our Toastmaster's up. We're going to introduce our contestant 1. We're going to drop that Toastmaster. We're going to bring them up. Goodbye, contestant 1. You see where I'm going. After that, we're going to have that moment of silence for the judges as well. Chief judge is the only person that can break that silence. So if anyone else is breaking the silence beyond your chief judge, mute them. And once chief judge comes back, spotlight the Toastmaster. So usually the second that I see that chief judge come back in the room, because I'm watching the breakout room, I highlight that Toastmaster's name and I spotlight them. So you'll get a feeling for that once you've done 1 or 2 of these. Same thing as before, we're going to interview those contestants again. So Toastmaster contestant 1, interview style, they stay up. Toastmaster contestant 2, interview style, they stay up. And then just like before, we're going to have, oh, actually, let me back up a step because I missed something. During both contests, there are going to be announcements from your trio or from your district while we're waiting for the judges or waiting for the ballot counters to count. So you may need to switch to like your PQD or your division director or something to talk about a conference or whatever they're going to have in their script. So just note that there may be a couple of other people that you'll spotlight. So if it's the division director in this case, so this piece here is about the division director, excuse me, the area director. We're going to have Toastmaster. Okay, now the area director is going to say some things and thank people for being here, yada, yada. And we're going to drop that Toastmaster, bring up that area director. This is why I watch the script, because I know that once they get to everyone else who assisted in making this contest successful, thank you. I will now turn our meeting. I've already got Toastmaster ready to spotlight and I'm hitting replace spotlight. It's going to take that other person off the screen, bring up our Toastmaster. So same thing as before. After announcements, after the chief judge is back with the results, we're going to have our awards chair present the awards as we highlight the area director, the Toastmaster, and the contestants that are eligible for being up on the screen. At the end of that, contest is over. We can relax. And then, I don't know if D16 does, but in D25, we have a debrief. So if you are a Zoom master or another big key player like Toastmaster, contest chair, yada, yada, area director, of course, you will stay for a post-contest conversation. How'd it go? What can we do better? What did we learn? What happened? So just know that you'll get onto the meeting way early because you want to set up the room for the briefings. So we get on in D25 an hour and a half before the contest starts. It starts at 7 o'clock. We're there at 5:30. We get an hour and a half because we have 30 minutes to set up the rooms, breakout rooms, see who's coming, yada, yada. And then there's 1 hour where we want to have the contest chair and the judge be able to just quickly bring everybody into those rooms, get everything done. So we want to be organized before that starts happening frantically for 1 hour. So we get there early and we stay late if we're Zoom contest Toastmaster or contest masters. The thing I like about being a Zoom master is I don't have a speaking role. So I don't have to talk. I just make things run pretty and I get to still meet everybody. And I get to still be a part of that big conversation at the end of how did it go? What did we learn? How can I help? So it's a huge part of the puzzle. And if you're like me, you don't like speaking so much. So you want to have something where you're part of the project, but you get to kind of have a behind the scenes role, even though you're kind of visible the whole time. So that is the script, and that is your best friend. I would get highly, highly familiar with that, as well as an agenda. And I apologize, I didn't have an agenda saved on my computer yet, and my save bar is being weird today. And not anyway. I don't have an agenda, but before a contest, your contest chair or your area director will have an agenda, just like we do for our meetings and everything else. So you'll be able to see who are the key players, in addition to that spreadsheet that they should have, right? This guy. This is going to be super helpful too. So you'll know who all these people are. And as the Zoom master, I made note of who had arrived. Just because your contest chair, your area director, they're going to be popping in and out of breakout rooms, doing all kinds of things, the chickens with their heads cut off. So I always like to keep attendance because that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm letting people in the room. I'm watching where they're going. I'm putting them in breakout rooms as they arrive, that kind of thing. So I always put a note to myself that they've arrived. So when the AD comes in frantically, where's contestant number 2? I'm like, they haven't showed up yet. They can quickly act on that, right? Or you can kind of proactively tell them that we haven't seen the timer yet. Maybe you want to look into that. That's a helpful thing to do as Zoom master as well. I always have the Zoom meeting ID and information handy because you will get asked a million times by people that are joining, oh, Nicole's coming, but she doesn't have the ID. And you're like, oh, well, you could go to the website and find it, but who has time for all that? So you're going to want to have that information quickly available as a resource for yourself. I also get the agenda. I save the agenda as a link on a drive. You don't have to do all that. But anything that you can save ahead of time and have ready for yourself to pull up quickly and link it for yourself, I would recommend, because the last thing you want to do is your contest is at 7 o'clock. You got to be on at 5:30 p.m. and you just got off work. And now we're trying to scramble and find all these resources that we had open, but then our computer crashed and then we had to find them again. Make it easy for yourself. The D25 Toastmasters website does that a lot, but even more specifically, you just need a couple of things handy. So having that organized, when you get to the Zoom room at the 5:30 or the 7:30 a.m., whatever time you're getting there to get ready for your contest, you're going to create the breakout rooms. Again, if that's a 101 thing, so if you need help with that, let me know. But we're going to create those 5 or 6 breakout rooms. And then as people join the meeting, so I see Tuck join tonight, right? Tuck's going to be a co-host because he's the area director. I see Liz join tonight. Liz is a judge, and I know that secretly because the judge sent me that information earlier. We don't want to say, hey, Liz, you're a judge tonight. Let me put you in the judge's room. You don't want to make that a big public thing. So you just want to subtly move her over to the judge's room as she comes in the room. So that's why I like having this as a reference too, because if you're using just your agenda for the night, you're not going to see the judges' names on it. You're also not going to know who the trio is and that kind of stuff. So the dignitaries and the people that need to be co-hosted. So having a list just makes it extra handy. As the sergeant at arms comes in, I can throw them into the contest breakout room, the contestant breakout room, and so on and so on and so forth. So that is how I keep that organized for my breakout rooms. That's how I keep on track of who's getting spotlit during the meetings, watching that script. And I learned all of that just by doing it multiple times. But I also have that basics prezo that I will send over to you guys. Again, I didn't want to bore you all with this, assuming that you have some higher level of Zoom. If you don't, get with me. But this is, where is it? The next training, like Sally mentioned, is Wednesday, January 24th. So bring any questions as you've seen these resources now. Bring the questions that you've got from it. Bring the stuff you've talked about your contest chair with. Bring your contest chair. Come to the training. Bring more people that might need contest information. Because again, these Zoom mastering and knowing the contest, they go hand in hand. So if you're learning Zoom, you're learning the contest. And also email me. If you need Zoom 101 training, if you want to get a group together, if you D16 or D25 want to get a separate little training together for something specific, let me know. I have opened my entire January through April for contests. I'm here, I'm a resource. So reach out to me for anything. But with that, I know I've been talking at you for 45 minutes. So please, what questions, now that we've seen the resources, we've gotten the flow of how the contest runs, what questions are still on your mind tonight? Nicole.
Samantha, do you think the ADs that are some of the other ADs that are not here, it would be good for them to come and sit through this?
Yes. Where are they?
Okay, I will follow up with them.
I'm kidding. Yes, anything that you can see as an area director, or especially all of your contest chairs, I would highly recommend every AD's contest chair comes to anything contest training related. Because by talking about one topic, talking about Zoom tonight, we're talking about the whole contest. So you're going to learn something through osmosis, even just being here. So yes, ADs and contest chairs can get a lot from it, and Toastmasters, because the script, if you've ever been a Toastmaster before, and that's the first time you see the script, that is a lot. That's daunting. Yes. Right? And how the heck do you read it?
I was looking, I'm like, 26 pages. Oh my God.
I'm telling you. Yeah. So that's why you can't prepare enough. You can't see enough trainings, even if it's not your specific role. Yes, ma'am. Come to the training or get with me. Yeah.
Sam, I had a question. Do you happen to have a template built for your spreadsheet for keeping track of those roles in breakout rooms?
So that is the spread. That is the template. So I actually, what I do is that spreadsheet, you can grab it from contest chair resources. That's the roles and context sheet. And I know this may be advanced, so I'm sorry. What I do with that spreadsheet is to make it usable across people is I put that into Google Drive. Okay, I put that into Google Sheets so that if Nicole is my AD and I'm the Zoom master, I can see what she's filled in. She can add people to the arrival list. She can add people to all the notes. Let me see. I think I probably have an example of a past, and I think it'd be helpful to see. Let me see if I have it. A past contest that I've done. So you guys can see kind of what that looks like as it's filled out. So oh, yes, I do. Actually, I'll give you a bonus too while we're here. Okay. So this is a Google Sheets are free. If you've never done it before, literally take that Excel, what I was showing you guys on the Excel sheet, drag this and paste this into Google Sheets. And what that'll do is that makes it shareable to anybody and editable to anybody that you want it to be editable to collaborate on a document together if they have a Gmail. So it's free to do. And this is what mine looked like after my contest was done. I was area director last year. This is what my contest looked like. So I have, who's the host, area director, my district director, the division or the district representative, my contest chair. I had all of their information. I had their email. And this is vital for area directors and contest chairs in general. You need this information anyway, so might as well have it in a collaborative, easy to understand format. And as a bonus, I had my contestants here, right? And for my chief judge, okay, this is a little bit of, this is kind of special stuff I'm sharing here. For my chief judge that was gonna want to know, like, where are my forms, where are my eligibility forms? I made that a Google Drive. So I just I uploaded those documents every time someone emailed me one, put it in a drive so that my chief judge could just click it and see that eligibility and profile form, or my Toastmaster could see the profile form for those interviews. So they were easy to just open up and see that information and do what they need to do with it without me having to email it to them, scramble back and forth. If Sebastian had sent me, and this is going to happen, Sebastian's going to send me something and have something wrong on it. Okay, now I've emailed this to everybody. And now I have to go email the new one. And some people are going to realize that I did that and some people aren't. Wow, it's a big thing. So having it in a shared drive just means I can delete this one, upload the new one, and if anyone clicks on that link again, they're seeing the correct form. So that's another bit of my secret sauce for contests. But this is how mine ended up being filled out. And I knew exactly who, or my Zoom master Chuck knew exactly who went where. So I never had to tell him anything. He knew what rooms to make and who to send to where, and I could focus on what I needed to focus on as AD. Any other questions? Okay. All right, well, it's a lot. I know I spoke and I gave you a lot. That's why I say, like Jim said today, your best friend is going to be that contest resources page, Zoom info for the basics, right? Zoom for contests. Got that great kind of the nuances. Okay, so this is the way I would say this. The PowerPoint that I'm going to send out, the Zoom 101, that's basics for Zoom mastering for any kind of Zoom meeting you're going to be in. This Zoom for contests is the nuance of being a Zoom master for contest. Okay, so that's where you're going to want to separate just basics from what does a contest need specifically. And then I grab that script and I read it and I print it out and I write on it and I learn it and I take out all the parts that are extraneous to me so I don't get bogged down in it. And I grab that, well, ideally your area director or your contest chair will already have that contest role filled out, but you might want to grab it. If they don't, some don't know it's there, some don't know how to use it and things like that. It may come up, so you may want to just kind of take that on as well if it helps you. So those are the three main things. But beyond that, any other questions for tonight? Anything else ruminating up in here? Captive audience, you're so quiet. I hope it was helpful and you learned something new tonight and you're excited for your role, whatever it is, in contests. And thank you, Christopher. Nice. Yeah, thank you.
So much, Samantha.
And if you have any other questions that do pop up, you know where to find me. I'm the girl with the glasses. My email's right here, and I respond very quickly, and I'm happy to help with anything, training, questions, anything. But my last piece of advice: go check out some contests before yours, if that's an option.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you so much, Sam. We will send out a recap for tonight's training as well. I have all your email addresses that you used to register for tonight's meeting. So look for that later tonight. And I'll be sure to include all the links. I was taking notes as Sam was talking. So you'll get here's Sally's notes section of that recap. And again, Sam's information will be on that recap as well. So you can reach her.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sally.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good night.
you. Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
16. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep that snow up there.
Thank you so much, Sam. This was a great turnout. I'm so